welcome to the deep dive. So today, we're asking, could your smartphone be, the modern missionary's travel pack? We're going deep on this one, diving into Gospel Goes Viral, this book by Alexander Kolarski, and really trying to unpack how social media is changing, everything about how we experience and share faith.
Yeah.
You might be surprised by some of what we found in here.
Yeah, right off the bat, the way Kolarski describes social media as this new mission field, that's super interesting. And he's not talking about some little corner of the internet, right? He's talking billions of users globally, which, even 10 years ago, you couldn't fathom that kind of reach. So it's huge, a huge opportunity.
It's a massive digital mission field, got it. But what's that actually look like? Are we all supposed to become, online preachers now?
That's a good question. And actually, Kolarski's argument is that anyone with a smartphone can be like this, I'm doing the air quotes here, digital evangelist. Doesn't mean you got to be up on a pulpit, right?
Yeah.
Right? It's more about recognizing that, every interaction, everything we put out there, every piece of content, it's going to influence people.
So less about preaching, more about just, living out your faith online in a way that, people connect with.
Exactly. And one of the big things Kolarski highlights is how much, noise there is online, right? All this stuff about, self-glorification and buy this and you'll be happy, that whole materialism thing. He calls it, and it's a strong word, but a battle for values online.
Oh, wow.
Which, think about it.
Yeah, no, he's not wrong.
Right. How much of what you're scrolling through is actually uplifting, encouraging,
It's true. It's so much about, even just friends and family. It's oh, look what I bought, look what I did, where I went. And it's so easy to get stuck in that comparison trap. Am I not enough because I didn't do that?
And that's precisely where Kolarski's saying, look, Christian voices are needed, really needed to offer something different. Not just, be another voice in the noise, but to actually provide a different narrative. Talk about, biblical values, hope, encouragement, purpose, stuff that goes beyond just, the material world.
Okay, so how do you do that then?
Right.
And do it authentically because, let's be real, nobody wants to be preached at online. There's a fine line between sharing and coming across, too intense.
Yeah, no, you're totally right. Authenticity, that's key. And Kolarski actually spends a whole section on this. Basically, he says, people can spot a fake a mile away, especially online where you can hide behind filters and all that. He says, be real, be vulnerable, even about your faith journey.
So not the picture-perfect Instagram version of faith, but being open about the struggles, the doubts even?
Yes. Because, and this is his point, that's what people connect with, the shared human experience of faith. He has this great line. He says, people don't need another perfect Instagram feed. They need to know they're not alone in the messiness of life.
Ooh, that's good.
Right.
Yeah, it's those real, raw moments that hit different. Because it shows you're not just talking at people, you're right there with them.
100%. And this leads into another big idea from the book, which is, get this, building a faith-based brand.
Okay, now hold on. That sounds, I don't know.
I know. It sounds a little weird at first.
It's a little buzzwordy, isn't it?
It does, but stick with me. He's not saying, go commercialize your faith, okay?
Yeah.
It's more about being intentional, like you're saying, about the message you're putting out there.
So faith-based brand, huh? Okay, we're being mindful, we're being intentional about how we show up online, but what's that actually look like, practically speaking?
Well, Kolarski gets into the nitty-gritty, which is really helpful. One thing that jumped out was focus your message. He's don't try to be everything to everyone online.
Right.
Figure out what your core message is, what are you passionate about, and let that be your guide.
So find your lane. Basically, you're a little corner of the faith world that you're really, really into, which makes sense. Social media is so huge.
It's overwhelming.
Exactly.
So yeah, you find your core message, and then he says, understand your audience. Who are you actually trying to reach with this? What do they care about? What are their struggles? And actually engage, have conversations, listen. Don't just...
Yeah, because it's so easy to just be this is what I think, take it or leave it.
Preach.
Right. But that's not...
Nobody wants that.
No, it's not helpful. It's not productive.
No, and it's not how you build relationships.
Exactly.
Which, speaking of, this is another big thing, discipleship in the digital age. Kolarski's point is, you can use social media for more than just here's a Bible verse.
Right, share if you love Jesus.
Yeah, exactly. It can actually be about guiding people, walking with them on their own faith journey.
Okay, so then how do you actually do that? How do we move from just posting to actually making connections, helping people grow.
He talks a lot about what he calls relational evangelism, which
Mm,
is really just, building real relationships online where people feel seen, heard, supported, all that good stuff.
okay.
So you create spaces for dialogue, ask questions that make people think, and share your own journey in a way that, like, invites people in.
So less about having all the answers, more about creating that space to, I don't know, wrestle with questions, explore.
100%. But, and this is important, he's clear that this takes consistency, it takes intentionality. Like, he even suggests making a content calendar, setting aside time for, online ministry.
Wow, so treating it like almost like a job in a way.
In a way, yeah, because if you're going to do it well, right? But you also got to have balance. And I think this gets lost sometimes.
Oh, 100%. It's so easy to get sucked in.
It really
And
is.
then you're like neglecting your actual life.
Exactly. And Kolarski, he actually addresses this head on. He's like, don't let your online ministry become a substitute for the real thing. Use it as
Mhm.
a tool, but don't forget about, like, face-to-face, being in community, all that.
It's finding that sweet spot, right?
Right.
Where it's a tool for connection, for growth, but it's not everything.
It's a constant dance.
It is.
But it's doable. And he's very, like, you got to figure out what works for you, your personality, your life, all that.
That's good.
And don't be afraid to take breaks.
Yes.
Like, log off, step away,
Yeah.
prioritize yourself.
It's so easy to feel like you have to be on all the time, especially if you're trying to, build a presence.
Totally. But he really stresses, like, authenticity and sustainability, they go together.
Yeah.
You can't pour from an empty cup, you know what I mean?
That's so true.
Yeah.
What about like what we're consuming? Because I feel like that's part of it too.
Oh, huge. He talks about being mindful of that. It's so easy to get caught in the comparison trap, right? Like, oh, they're doing that, I'm not good enough.
Scrolling, comparing.
Yes. But remember, it's a highlight reel. It's not the whole story.
Right. Like everyone's life looks perfect except yours when you're scrolling.
Exactly. It's like that old saying, comparison is the thief of joy. And that's so true online, right?
Totally.
And it can really mess with, like, your spiritual life. So Kolarski's like, be intentional about who you follow. Find accounts that inspire you, challenge you in a good way, lift you up, all that.
So it's like we're being careful about what we're taking in, what we're letting, I don't know, form our thoughts and feelings.
Mm-hmm.
It's almost like spiritual hygiene or something.
Ooh, I like that. Spiritual hygiene, that's good. And speaking of, he also talks about discernment, which, just like in real life online, we got to be discerning too.
Yeah, for sure.
Just because it's, like, popular or whatever doesn't mean it's true, right?
Yeah.
Question what you see, be wary of misinformation, all that.
So, critical thinking, not just like passively swallowing everything we see.
Exactly. And he really emphasizes, like, stay grounded in your own values and beliefs, even when you're engaging with different ideas, which, I mean, it's like we're navigating a whole new world online, right?
It really is, with its own like rules and pitfalls.
Totally. But, and this is important, he doesn't want us to be scared of social media. Like, he actually sees a lot of potential for good.
Oh,
He really believes that even just, like, one post, one video, one comment even, it can have a ripple effect. Like, you just never know how you're going to impact someone.
that's true. You really don't. It's like we all have a voice. We all have a story.
And those stories matter.
They do.
Even, or maybe especially, in this crazy digital world.
Yeah, because like at the end of the day, people still want connection. They want meaning, right? They want something bigger than themselves.
100%. And maybe, just maybe, our smartphones can help us find it.
I love that. So what do you think, listener? Could your smartphone be a tool for something bigger? Could it be your platform for sharing your faith and making a difference in the digital world? Kowalski definitely gives us a lot to think about, that's for sure. We'd love to hear your thoughts, share your takeaways with us on social media, and let's keep this conversation going. And until next time, keep diving deep.